One of the frustrations people often share with me when they are working on making changes in their life is they will be going along at a pretty good clip, doing all the things and finding a little bit of success in changing their thoughts or changing their behaviors. And then for whatever reason, suddenly that starts to fall off a little bit. And they notice that after a day or two or a week or two or even a month, they're back to the old behavior that they were trying to change. And so today I want to talk about why people oftentimes fall back into those old habits, because if you know that's going to happen, maybe there's some things you can do about helping that not happen. Hi, my name is Dane Campbell. I am a retired Air Force officer after 27 years, and I'm also a licensed clinical social worker. And for 30 years, I've been a change agent, helping people find ways to bring greater peace and success into their lives. I'm glad that you tuned in today, because this issue of feeling like you've gone a couple of steps forward and then maybe 3 or 4 steps back is not new to people who are trying to create lasting changes in their behaviors and in their thoughts. And there's some reasons why this happens. And one of those things is that we are creatures of habit. Once we start doing something in a certain way, we get used to that. And we do that so that we don't have to think and process about every little single thing we do in life. And things just become automatic for us. And so if you're looking at changing one of those things in your life, whether it's the things that you tell yourself or the things that you actually do, changing those behaviors can be difficult. One of the things, or maybe the first thing to think about, is just that this is going to take some focused effort over a long period of time. If you've ever tried to learn how to play an instrument or play a sport, think about maybe when you learned to drive, or maybe became a student and had to learn how to study. Those skills took a lot of time and a lot of very focused effort on gaining some level of competence in doing them without having to think about each and every small step to be successful. And so if you are going to change something like a behavior or something like a thought that you keep telling yourself, it really takes the same kind of focused effort on a day-to-day basis over a long period of time to really make kind of that new pathway in your mind as being the regular way of doing things or the new habit. So I would just say that if you feel like you're falling back into those old ways of doing things, just look at the effort that you're giving this process and make sure that it's focused and consistent over a long period of time. The next thing, and I've talked about this on several occasions in the past, is to make sure that this is something you really want to change. If you are looking at changing things in your life that are important to others, that's an okay thing, but the motivation is going to dry up much sooner than if it's something that you really, really want to do yourself. And even if it's somebody that really loves you, that wants you to change something, it's still going to be difficult to maintain that motivation when things are difficult and things start to fall off a little bit. So if you really want to have success in this, make sure that the change that you're looking for is something that is really important to you and maybe not to other people so much. One of the things that you might want to do if you find that you're falling back into old habits is just to make sure you have the knowledge and education that you need as a foundation for change. If we start out, let's say you wanted to develop better eating habits and a healthier diet, you've got to know what goes into that equation. So you need to do some study and some reading to find out what is good nutrition and in what sources can you find good nutrition, and how will you actually take those sources and make them a part of your daily life, whether that's how often you eat, how much you eat, what types of things you eat, if there are things you need to eat less of. Having the knowledge and the educational foundation is invaluable, because that will help you find greater success throughout the process and will be a reinforcer as you move on. So it might be a good idea, if you're falling back into old habits, to just make sure that you're fully educated on the thing that you want to change, so that that isn't a hindrance or pushing you back into those old ways. The next thing I wanted to implore you to do is to forgive yourself if things don't go exactly the way that you thought they should in the change process. Forgive yourself if you get down the road a little bit and you forgot to do some of the things that you told yourself you needed to do to make this change. Forgive yourself if you have, not taken all of those steps necessary or done that in a consistent fashion, because one of the things that I've noticed is people can beat up on themselves, but a lot of times when you are giving yourself negative messages about things you do or don't do, that keeps you or becomes a hindrance for continuing to try to make the change happen. So if you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, just dust yourself off and take those 5 steps forward again. It's okay to restart and restart and restart. When somebody decides that they want to give up nicotine or smoking, oftentimes there are multiple attempts at stopping that behavior before one figures it out, how to do it in a focused way long enough to make that change fully. And so please don't give up on yourself and beat up on yourself if things aren't going exactly the way that you want them to, or maybe you've fallen back into those old habits. Just dust yourself off, recommit yourself, get back on the focused effort, and move forward once again. Even if you are unsuccessful in making that behavioral change long term, and let's say you made an effort for a month or 2, there will be some learning that your brain has about that process. So it's not like starting over, because you've already started once. It'll just be like starting again. And hopefully in the future, you will be able to find the success you're looking for. But please don't beat up on yourself. That's not going to help you in the long run and in the process. And I already said number 5, just start again. Just keep trying. Just don't give up on yourself, because I truly believe that change is possible. I love to play the ukulele. I'm not good at it. I plink out a few songs and I love to sing along, and you'll never hear me, but that's okay. And there have been times when I've put it aside for long periods of time because I feel like I'm not good enough, or I just am playing the same old songs, or I'm not making any progress. But it always draws me back, and I always start again. And I find that when I do start again, I'm just a tiny bit better than I was before. I remember the notes. I can learn some new notes that are more difficult. I remember some of the songs. I probably would get better a lot faster if I wouldn't set it aside. But I'm just like you. I'm learning about change. I'm trying to do things in this process that help me move forward rather than beat myself up. But the main thing is just starting again, getting back on that bike, getting back on the horse that feels like maybe it bucked you off, and just keep working with that focused effort, and you will find success in the things that you want to change as well. I appreciate you watching today. I wish you great success as you look at finding ways of not falling back into those old habits. I would really appreciate it if you would hit subscribe and like. And if you have any comments about things that have kept you from moving forward or made you feel like you're falling back into old habits, jot them down and put them in the comments so that we can talk about them moving forward. Thanks everybody for watching, and until we talk again, take care.